For this video, I wanted to do something kind of fun and creative, and I have to give credit to one of the old school China YouTubers, a guy named Austin Guidry. He no longer makes content, but he used to do videos kind of similar to this every once in a while. Basically, all you do, you go to Google, you type something in the search box, and you see what Google Autofill suggests. So for this video, I typed in, "Why do Chinese people?" and I let Google Autofill do the rest. So let's see what they came up with. The first question, why do Chinese people drink hot water? And if you've ever been to China, you know that they certainly love to drink hot water. So I'll give you my answer to it. And the answer to this question varies depending on who you ask. If you ask a Chinese person, they'll almost surely tell you that the reason is because it's related to Chinese medicine and that drinking hot water is good for you and drinking cold water is bad for you. However, if you ask someone like me, who has lived here for over a decade, thought upon it deeply, and researched it, you'll get a very different answer. The number one reason that drinking hot water is so common in China is due to habit. And that habit stemmed from boiling water in order to kill germs and parasites and prevent illnesses. In the olden days, boiling water would have been a smart thing to do because drinking contaminated water can make you very sick. And in fact, it can even kill you. So, boil the water, drink it piping hot, and your chances of not getting sick go way up. In today's China, the habit continues. And actually, it's still a useful thing to do because China's tap water is still not drinkable. So if you want to drink tap water in China, it must be boiled or you will get sick. Chinese folks won't tell you this, but this is the reality of it. And to make it sound better and to put their habit on a pedestal, they simply conclude that hot water is just good for you. Has nothing to do with killing off bacteria and parasites, but it's all due to beliefs in Chinese medicine. So when you come to China, they will certainly make comments if you are drinking cold water or any other sort of cold drink for that matter. To most Chinese folks nowadays, they don't even think about it. They just accept it. It's a habit that has been passed down to them, and they just view it as the way things should be. Hot water, good. Cold water, bad. It's really that simple. The reality is, however, boiling water to purify it out of necessity is the primary reason this habit still exists. The Chinese medicine beliefs are secondary. Don't expect them to budge on this one, even if you show them research to the contrary. Their minds aren't open for reconsideration on the topic. The funny thing is, China's current obsession with ice cream flies in the face of this whole hot water theory, yet they don't seem to care or even realize it. It's quite comical to see. A person eating ice cream and smoking a cigarette would probably lecture me over drinking a chilled bottle of water. Thanks, China. Hey guys, quick interruption. If you are here watching my video, there's a high likelihood that you have an interest in China. Well, personally, I think it's important that we all learn a foreign language, and I want to suggest choosing Chinese as your foreign language. First of all, by studying the Chinese language, you will really start to understand China on a much deeper level. Also, Chinese is the second most widely spoken language in the world, with over 1 billion Chinese speakers worldwide. People say that learning Chinese is so difficult, and let's be frank, in some ways it is, but it's not nearly as tough as you think, and the grammar is super easy. I want to encourage you to check out my channel sponsor, Excel Mandarin, and take advantage of their free trial lesson offer. You have nothing to lose and potentially a lot to gain. Excel Mandarin has bilingual native Chinese speakers based in the US who can teach you real Chinese, and they have the ability to take you from beginner all the way up to fluency. They offer 24/7 support, and they have all of the resources available that you could ever want. I learned Chinese by fumbling my way around on the streets of China. It was a really fun and interesting way to learn, but it wasn't very efficient. If I'd had a native speaker guiding me and helping me along the way, I would have learned a lot more, a lot faster. So check them out today, sign up for a free trial lesson, and make sure not to forget the most important part. Be sure to tell them that Mr. Chopsticks sent you. Okay, now back to the video. The second question, why do Chinese people use chopsticks? This is actually a really interesting question. Way back in the day, we're talking like 3,000 years ago, Chopsticks were not used for eating, they were cooking tools. Early versions, often bronze rods or simple twigs, helped people safely reach into pots, stir boiling stews, retrieve food from oil or fire, or flip pieces of food without burning their hands. Around 400 to 300 BC, that would be the Warring States period and into the Han Dynasty, fuel and resources became scarcer. Cooks started pre-cooking ingredients into small bite-sized pieces, so foods cooked faster and used less fuel. Once food arrived at the table already in small pieces, knives became unnecessary at meals. Chopsticks were perfect for picking up those bits precisely. It turned out that chopsticks were actually useful for eating the types of foods they ate. Even for me, some foods are simply easier to eat using chopsticks rather than, say, a fork or a spoon. They're relatively easy to make, they can be made cheap from bamboo, they're very portable. Also, surprisingly enough, Confucianism played a pretty significant role in cementing their use. Confucius advocated non-violence, moderation, harmony, and keeping the table civilized, away from anything associated with slaughter or aggression. Knives were seen as violent or barbaric, linked to butchering, so the honorable man allows no knives on his table. Chopsticks are gentle, precise, and non-aggressive, symbolizing civility, benevolence, and family harmony. Eating with chopsticks from shared dishes promotes communal eating, respect for others, and social order, which is a core Confucian value. Over time, this turned chopsticks into a marker of refinement and civilization, and thus today, in China and other Far East nations, well, you see a whole lot of chopsticks. Number 3 on the list. Why do Chinese people drink hot water in the morning? Okay, so in part, we've already covered the hot water aspect of this. So for the Chinese who start their day off with hot water, it's essentially because they believe it will jumpstart the digestive system and really get things ready for the day. It's all related to beliefs in TCM, or traditional Chinese medicine. They also believe it stimulates your inner qi. Some people in the Western world actually do have similar habits, starting off the day with hot water with lemon, ginger, and or honey, or any combination of those. Number 4 on the list. Why do Chinese people have English names? Chinese students start studying English from kindergarten and will oftentimes have a foreign teacher. So, as a natural and fun part of the process, they'll almost inevitably get English names. Now, these names aren't always picked by the teacher. Sometimes the kids and their parents come up with it by themselves. You'll hear a lot of girls named Apple or Cherry, and you'll hear plenty of boys named Michael and Johnny. But you'll also hear random things, like boys named Peanut or Robot, or girls named Purdy or Rabbit. Some of the kids just sort of treat the English name as something fun and novelty, but some of them also really start to identify with it. Then, further down the road as they get older, the English names can come in handy as English is still the international language of the business world. Number 5. Why do Chinese people do nails? Well, in the US, it's actually the Vietnamese who are more known for doing nails. But for the Chinese who do work in the industry, doing nails is a quick skill to learn. There's no real barrier to entry. You don't really need to know English. And also, Chinese generally like to open their own businesses. So doing something like opening a small salon or restaurant is something they can do relatively easily while living in a foreign country. In China, girls getting their nails done is a huge industry, and they do it because they like it. They think it's cute, sexy, all that good stuff. Number 6. This one kind of caught me off guard. Why do Chinese people drink bird spit? I had never heard of this actually, in all my 12 years of living here. Perhaps it's something that people in the South might be more prone to do, or at least know about. I live up in the North, so I've never heard of anyone eating that, nor have I seen it on any menu. So I had to look it up. Here's what I learned. Some Chinese people do consume what is essentially bird saliva, or bird spit, but not in the way the question might jokingly imply, like drinking raw spit from a bird. It's a traditional delicacy called edible bird's nest, yanwo in Chinese, and it's made from the solidified saliva of certain swiftlets, small birds which are related to swallows, mainly in Southeast Asia. Edible nest swiftlets build their nests almost entirely from their own gummy saliva, secreted from glands under their tongues. The saliva hardens into a translucent, cup-shaped structure, No twigs or feathers in the premium white nests. These nests are harvested, cleaned, and used as food, most commonly in bird's nest soup. In Chinese, that would be yanwo tang. The soup is prepared by soaking and double boiling the nest, often with rock sugar for a sweet dessert version, or in savory forms with chicken broth. It has a mild, slightly gelatinous texture and subtle flavor, often described as neutral or faintly egg-like, not spitty at all. Apparently, this has been a prized delicacy in Chinese cuisine for over 400 years, dating back at least to the Ming Dynasty, with some claims to even earlier periods. It was historically a luxury for emperors and elites, symbolizing wealth, refinement, and health. In TCM, or traditional Chinese medicine, it is believed to boost immunity and energy, improve skin complexion, and reduce aging signs, so many women consume it for beauty reasons. It's supposed to support respiratory health, digestion, and recovery from illness, and it's also believed to act as a general tonic for vitality. Today, it's still popular among those who follow TCM, especially for postpartum recovery, elderly health, or as a premium gift, especially for things like big festivals like the Lunar New Year in China, which is their biggest holiday. You can find it in ready-to-drink bottles, capsules, or sometimes it's added to desserts or skincare products. So it's quite accessible in a variety of ways. Number 7, why do Chinese people boil apples? This is another one of those things that stems from Chinese medicine. They believe that drinking boiled apple tea can offer health benefits, mainly for digestion-related benefits. This is getting a little attention from this crazy fad on some social media platforms where people are saying they are China maxing or living their best Chinese life, etc. Very cringeworthy, very immature, but that is what it is. Number 8, why do Chinese people drink warm water? Well, we have already covered this one. See number 1. Number 9, why do Chinese people eat with chopsticks? We've already covered this one as well. See number 2. And then on to the last one, why do Chinese people live longer? Well, it depends who you ask. The Chinese rank in the upper middle tier in terms of life expectancy, but there are many places who have longer lifespans than the Chinese. The US has almost exactly the same life expectancy as China, but places like Japan, South Korea, France, Norway, Iceland, Sweden, Italy, Spain, and many more all have longer lifespans than China. That said, life expectancy in China is on the rise. They tend to eat less processed foods, they consume a large amount of seafood, they generally drink healthier things like water and tea, etc. I do need to add, however, that obesity in China is skyrocketing right now, and people are eating more and more junk food. And they are just overeating in general as well. Furthermore, a lot of Chinese food is cooked in unhealthy oils and can be very salty as well. Also, smoking is very prevalent amongst men in Chinese society, as is heavy drinking. If you were thinking of countries with some of the longest lifespans, China is not where you want to look. You'd be much better off checking out Japan and South Korea. Well, guys, did you all learn anything from this video? I know I had to look a couple of things up, and I learned a couple of new things about China. It was pretty interesting to do. Hope you all found it of interest as well. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. As most of you already know, the bread and butter of my channel is doing travel content, of which I have a lot more on the way. I'm actually on the road traveling as we speak, so please stay tuned for some exciting new content. But yeah, if you're new here, welcome to the channel. Glad to have you on board, and I look forward to sharing all of my crazy experiences with you guys. So take care of yourselves, stay happy, healthy, and blessed, and most importantly, stay tuned. 下次再见. Thanks for tuning into today's video. If you enjoyed what you saw here, please make sure to subscribe to the channel because I have a lot of exciting things on the way. So far, we've got videos from China, Japan, South Korea, Cambodia, Thailand, various parts of the US, and of course, a couple series of my Great Appalachian Tour, and much more. Things are only getting started here on the channel, and it's not only my pleasure, but it's also my honor to bring you along for the ride. I want to take this opportunity to give a big shout out to all of my YouTube and Patreon supporters, regardless of what tier you are in. I genuinely appreciate all of you. I do want to give an extra special acknowledgement to my PSHO tier members who go above and beyond in their contributions to this channel. thank you guys. And then, last but not least, I want to give a big shout out to my top tier supporters: Lee, Martin S., David is Dawe, and Monster Glow for their extreme kindness and support. With this kind of support, there's a possibility that maybe one of these days I'll be able to commit to doing this full time. Yes, that would mean living on the road and taking you all to places all around the globe and giving you honest, unbiased content from countless locations, most of which tend to be off the beaten path. So with that said, we will see you all in the next video.
What do you look for beyond the sea, grasshopper?